By now, you've heard that Nissan is in trouble. They're in discussions with Honda on a possible merger, or at least a deepening of their relationship together. Now, on the surface, this story sounds simple enough. Nissan has old products. The Renault Nissan Mitsubishi alliance has always been a mess. Remember Carlos Ghosn? By the way, I still need to watch that documentary on Netflix. But in this video, I want to show evidence why this is just the tip of the iceberg. Why we should be talking more about the troubles at Honda and Toyota. Now I know Toyota, Honda, even Nissan reported their best financial results in this past year, but it kind of be considered the gilded age for the Japanese auto industry. An historically weak yen has made their overseas profits look amazing. But underneath that golden exterior, there are some serious troubles. Here's the situation. Japanese companies end their financial year at the end of March, so you'll see some data that is fiscal year and other cases the data is for calendar year. Toyota, great net income. Honda, great operating profit. Nissan, yeah, them. They improved profit every year since COVID. They're on a winning streak, right? All these figures are in Japanese yen, and you'll see in a minute that most of their sales are from markets overseas. So a weak Japanese yen makes those dollars, euros, and renminbis more valuable at home. The anti-EV crowd took a victory lap earlier this year saying, see, the Japanese have crappy electric vehicles and they're all making bank. Wrong. Let's look at the sales. First, by talking about what happened with Nissan. Their sales tell the story. And you know what? Thank you, Nissan, for making very nice charts for me to use. Sales peaked at fiscal year 2017 and have declined ever since, rebounding a little last year. But wait, sales are down, but revenues and profits are up? Yep, that's due to the weak yen and rising transaction prices in markets outside of China. China sales cut in half. North America down by a third. The Europe market in general is stagnant after COVID, no growth, and Nissan is down over 40%. They're not doing well really anywhere. In making this video, I actually had to remind myself, what do they sell in the US? Rogue, Altima, Sentra, Pathfinder, Kicks, Frontier, they're their top sellers. They're all, fine, but nothing outstanding. If you buy one, it's because it was cheaper than a Honda or Toyota. To sell more, they need to cut prices and boost advertising to build awareness. You can say that about all Nissans in all their markets. January through October sales globally are flat, but that's being dragged down by, you guessed it, China, where they're down 10%. Why are they down in China? You guessed it again. Lack of battery EVs and plug-in hybrids. Now, Nissan does have e-Power, which they position as a self-charging hybrid in vehicles like the best-selling Sylphy in China. But in the words of Martin Lee from EV News Daily, by the way, check out his podcast, there is no such thing as a self-charging hybrid. E-Power is a hybrid. It only uses gas. There is no plug. It's not a PHEV. This is not a new energy vehicle, and it's not selling as well in China in the face of steep price competition and a rapid shift to NEVs. If it weren't for China, Nissan might be able to limp along for a little while on its own, but now they need help, and the Japanese government chose Honda. This is how Japan works. There was no official declaration by the government, but they take care of their own, and you could be sure that private conversations took place. Honda needs to save Nissan. The alternative was Foxconn, because they really want to grow in automotive, particularly for electric vehicles, and they already had some ties into Nissan. Foxconn and Yulon Motor own Foxtron, the automotive business unit, and Yulon Motor does things like build Nissan branded vehicles in Taiwan and the Philippines for some select markets. The possibility of Nissan being acquired by an outsider was not acceptable, and thus Honda was told to speed it up. Honda and Nissan were already considering various possibilities for future collaboration, but the time is up. They need to make a deal happen now. So let's look at Honda. No problems there, right? Wrong. Again, this is all being masked by higher vehicle transaction prices and a favorable exchange rate. Sales in Asia are down, China being the bulk of those sales. Sales in North America also down, but they're able to raise prices when new vehicles were scarce. Sales in other markets down. This leads me to a key takeaway from this video. The Japan 3 are more at risk from China than the Detroit 3. The Japanese still make very good and profitable small and compact vehicles. Detroit, on the other hand, they rely on large pickups and large SUVs in North America to stay afloat. Those small and compact vehicles are increasingly going plug-in electric. Japan has been dismissive of the shift to EVs and late to make any good ones. All those small and compact cars are exactly what China does best, and they are exporting them to markets in Asia, South America, Middle East, now Europe, all over the world. They're finding themselves going head to head with China Auto way too many places. Now, Honda does have the benefit of diversification with two wheelers and other business units, but automotive represents 2/3 of their revenue. Auto sales are down, and this year, China has been a bloodbath for Honda. Their sales are down roughly 30% through October, just plummeting. Any sales gains they may be making around the world are just totally getting wiped out by China. Their JV in China with Dongfeng just started production of new energy vehicles. In fact, this is Honda's first all EV producing facility. Sales of the all electric Prologue and ZDX, those are just GM vehicles underneath. I'm hoping they give an update on their Sony Honda mobility project at CES this year. Do you remember the name for that vehicle? Afeela, right? Terrible name. Hey, Sony, Honda. It's not too late just to call it Sony or Honda. It's that easy. So, yeah, Honda is profitable on the surface, but underneath, their sales are down globally. This should be a wake up call for Japan Auto. Toyota showed the world who's number one earlier this year, reporting record profits by sticking with gas hybrids and not taking EVs seriously. Now, to be clear, hybrids are a great way to save money on gas and reduce greenhouse emissions, and Toyota makes the best hybrids. In the US, it's helping them sell to buyers uncertain of going full electric, but at the same time, California is Toyota's biggest US market, and 1 in 5 vehicles there are an EV. So they are conceding sales to that guy. And in China, hybrids just aren't good enough. Toyota sales are down there nearly 10%. In Japan, a different set of unfortunate events, including a recall and scandals around fabricated safety testing data that has eroded confidence in the brand. The market they could always rely on is letting them down. They are in much better shape than Honda for now. Losses in China are not nearly as bad as for Honda. Sales in Japan, they're going to improve once they make amends with the public. North America is proving to be fertile grounds for gas hybrid, but not for their slow charging and slow selling BZ4X. Toyota has a window of time to catch up on electric vehicle technology while they make money on their hybrids and plug-in hybrids. The same is true for the Detroit 3, where large pickups and large SUVs sold in America can cover up the ugly truth that GM is just hemorrhaging in China, Ford is struggling in Europe, and Stellantis, well, you know what's happening with them. As for Nissan, Honda is not strong enough to carry them for long. Tough decisions will need to be made, and that could include plant closures and layoffs. New products are sorely needed, but that's going to take time. Rebadging products can happen much quicker, but yuck. Nothing is more desperate than rebadge engineering. And they need to share development costs for batteries, EVs, and plug-in hybrids, and autonomous systems too. And here in North America, they need to get aggressive with pricing and advertise more, which will allow them to steal some sales from, probably Honda and Toyota. So, well, that sucks.